Land of Pan. I now want to tell some stories to help you understand more fully what I am talking about. These can be very enlightening stories, and if you can let yourself be triggered, helpful stories also. The popular version of the history of Earth is not entirely accurate and is another example of twists and turns on judgments. As I have said, many people have tried to avoid the responsibility on Earth in many ways. Pretending not to remember things that they have not wanted to remember is one of the main attempts at this, even to the extent of doctoring history so that it sounds better to the ones seeking to avoid responsibility. This has not really worked though, as quite a few people have felt that straightforwardness is lacking, and it is. Many people have been denying so much that they have only a small, narrow opening through which information can be received. This has to be reversed now, because it has reached dangerous proportions on Earth. These stories of the past will help open your channels so that you can begin remembering what you have denied for so long. In the beginning, when spirits first entered the Earth, it was in a land called Pan, which is now under the Pacific Ocean. In the land of Pan, or Pangea, no one had to earn a living. Everything sprang forth without effort. Every need was met by simply desiring it to be met, and the forms in which it was met often surprised and delighted the spirits there. For example, a spirit only needed to say, "I want to taste something good," and something delicious would appear, often in a form that had not been seen before. If a spirit wished to experience immersing in water, a pool at just the desired temperature would appear, having all the things about it that the spirit particularly liked. If a group of spirits wished to swim, the pool would have everything everyone wanted. In the beginning, many of the spirits could change forms. Although some had more mastery of this than others, all could do it. It was not unusual at that time for a spirit to do acrobatics on the way to a pool with arms and legs, and then, upon diving into the water, transform legs into a fishtail if swimming was more fun in that form. If later there was a desire to fly, wings would appear. Some spirits began taking this for granted. They received without feeling gratitude and even began to use these gifts to their own advantage. Hoarding of the abundance and the use of form to present the self as other than what it was were two of the ways in which these gifts began to be abused. Earth was created to be a living fairy tale without any shadow of evil or doubt. The ones abusing the gifts did not know how to live on Earth, and many did not accept or even like Earth's intended way. They tried to make Earth spirits feel that their fairyland was silly, immature, and just a pretend world. And to the spirits denying Earth, it was a pretend world because they held a different view of reality within themselves. These spirits had home planets other than Earth and were lost. They would not admit this, however. Instead, these spirits acted superior and said they had come to protect Earth and all the spirits who insisted on living in this silly fairy tale with no protection from what was really going on in creation. Not long before this time, there had been a war in the heavens. The fairies and elves, brownies and pixies, dwarves and gnomes, mermaids, and all the other fairy folk on Earth had felt that the war was over. They were in a healing, celebrating mood. These other spirits, who claimed they had come to protect them, did not want the war to be over. These spirits had emerged during the war in the heavens because they responded to that energy and started the fight. The Earth spirits had emerged earlier than these larger, fighting spirits in a great burst of golden light, and had fallen away from me before learning everything they had needed to know to be on their own. Some older rainbow spirits and some angels, too, had gone after them to see if they could help because it didn't seem that they should already be on their own. All of these spirits had come to Earth, and they all had one thing in common. They all had hidden feelings of rebelliousness toward me. Many of them believed I had let lack of acceptance among my different kinds of spirits go to unnecessary extremes, and that because I did not stop it, this had resulted in the war in the heavens. I want to give a short synopsis of what happened on Earth so that you can understand how the Earth came to be so dense and slow that magic seems lost, and manifesting and changing form seems difficult and slow. This is also how it happened that nearly everyone now feels they have to work for a living or inherit money. If Earth spirits feel their true feelings, they feel that Earth is not the way it was meant to be, but that everything has become a trade-off or a compromise instead. Long ago, in Pan, The air smelled of flowers, and the earth was soft with mosses, grasses, and sandy beaches. The rocks were gemstones, and the waters were liquid light that sparkled and danced. The weather, and even the seasons, changed in reflection of the moods of the spirits. This harmony manifested as music. Even the wind in the trees and the waves on the seas gave rhythm to the melodies. The monkeys and cats and all the birds sang and danced with the fairy folk. The fish and the mermaids even sang in the seas. Everything glowed with colored light during the golden day and also during the soft blue night. Desire manifested reality so easily that a loving spirit could extend a hand toward a tree, and that tree would flower immediately. Reality appeared to change magically, affected by every spirit's feelings of how it should be. I have to speak lyrically here because Pan was so magical, musical, and free, and is what many fairy tales are based on. The spirits there allowed entry of many spirits who claimed they wanted to be a part of this reality, but many of these spirits only came to disagree with them about how Earth should be. They invaded Earth and claimed they did not. These were fighting spirits who said they were warriors sent by me. The rebellious ones had too much fear to ask me to make it clear. They feared that I was angry with them for leaving me too soon. They feared the spirits who were telling them they were wrong were speaking for me. They dreaded and feared that they deserved punishment. These fairy folk did not know these warriors had another place they were supposed to go. They did not understand that these warriors would create conflict wherever they went, because conflict was what had called them forth. These warriors claimed that they were just in the nick of time to hold the line against danger that was lurking all around to protect these childish spirits who were refusing to see what actually lurked hidden in everything they could see. In fact, these warriors did find danger and strife lurking wherever they looked because that was how they wanted it to be, and that was all that they could see. The more the warriors claimed to be finding danger on Earth, the more the other spirits began to fear that the warriors really had reason to be there. The more the Earth spirits began to fear, the harder it became for them to stay clear. They no longer felt sure that joy and freedom had much allure, if they were being naive about danger lurking near. Some even feared that struggle and strife were a necessary part of me and of life. These spirits also had fear that they had to listen to these warriors because they couldn't depend on me anymore, or on what they thought creation was meant to be. They even thought I didn't look much to Earth because they weren't interesting to me, and that what they were doing didn't have much worth. Judgments were made here that changed their reality. It was no longer considered appropriate to be creative, wild, and free. Everyone now was supposed to be orderly. The warriors reflected these fears by saying the Earth spirits wouldn't be hearing directly from me anymore. They said I had sent them as my emissaries and intermediaries to head up Earth, implement my orders, and protect them from realities full of hidden dread. They were lying, but the Earth spirits didn't suspect this at first. In this way, step by step, the warriors began to lead the spirits on Earth exactly where they dreaded to be. Everyone on Earth still tried to be gay and free, and play and say they could still live in their old way. The warriors said that they had saved the day. The Earth spirits felt they couldn't be sure. The warriors wanted Earthlings to live by rules, because, they said, we can't protect unpredictable fools. The head of the warriors then began to say there were so many marauding spirits flying around that we need more protection than what has already been found. He was not completely wrong either, for as long as the warriors were there was always going to be something to fear. They have a purpose in my creation, and I am not unloving toward them, but Earth is no longer their right place. The head warrior called for more protection, over and over, more and more, so loud and long that Earth finally answered the call by placing some protective fire dragons in the skies. These fire dragons had taken on an intimidating form that was huge enough to encircle the Earth. They hung out in the skies, watching everything with very sharp eyes. With their breath of fire, they blew away spirits they didn't want to enter the Earth, but they didn't remove any that were already there. They did not believe that they could or should, and so denied their true feelings there. There were many on Earth that they wanted to send away, but feared it was wrong and that they might scorch others who got in the way. If they had accepted their own true feelings, they could have found a way. Instead, the fire dragons held in many of their true feelings and only expressed towards spirits trying to enter for the first time. These denied feelings became dense within them because they were not allowed to move. When their density caused them to sink toward Earth, they began to take turns in the sky while the others went to the fire seas, deep in the earth, to purify themselves of what had made them too dense to hang in the skies. They got there through secret and guarded passageways that opened only to the fire dragons. In the fire seas, the fire dragons vented their feelings.